What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know I'm about to get it in. But before I get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all. And let's get to the intro. For reals though. Welcome back. If you haven't already hit that button, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. So that way you get all the dope knowledge that you can't get in college that I'm kicking every day, man. I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled by it. Good morning. I wanted to get into who Kilmar Abrego Garcia is. You know, I was asked to do this video. Someone wanted my opinion, my perspective on what's going on with this guy, who he truly is. What's my stance and my perspective on should he be coming back home? Is he an American citizen? Does he belong in America? Or should they keep him over there in CCOT and let him rot away doing 600 years with the rest of the guys from Barrio 18 and MS13? I'll say this. I have mixed emotion and mixed feelings when it comes to all these deportations that are happening. You know, you truly don't understand what it is until it touches your life, like clearly. You know, until it's a family member, until it's a friend, a parent, a child, someone that, you know, you have direct contact with, you know, gets affected by this. Up until that point, everyone has an opinion, but nobody truly knows how it feels. Now, I've had family members that have been deported in the past, and I could sit here and I could give you a long list of reasons they deserved to be, because some of them did. To totally be honest, they were drug dealers. They were leading criminal lifestyles, albeit, yes, they were working in the fields, or yes, they had jobs in factories, or yes, they were working fucking at a dollar store selling payday candy bars. But at the end of the day, they violated the law. And just like me, and I can't be a hypocrite, just like when I violated laws, I went to prison. There was a gang of repercussions for my actions. And the main one was sitting my ass down for years, whether it be in the hole, on a main line. No matter what, you could catch me in the prison system. How about that? That's where I was at, right? Now, Kilmar is not an exception to the rule, but people are trying to make him an exception to the rule. You know, there's this narrative going around that he's an innocent man, a law-abiding citizen, just a guy working with his family, for his family, and he shouldn't be treated the way he's being treated. He's been snatched up. He's been extradited or deported to El Salvador. Let me give you some facts. I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of content creators give you their spin on it. Here's my spin, right? Straight up head spin, Beat Street. Here's Beat Street. See you later. Hasta la bye-bye. Vámonos a la verga. Catch you on the rebound, homie, like a Bretton Woods song. And I'll tell you why. This persona that people are trying to say, this facade, this wool they're pulling over our eyes, the mainstream media, to try to act like he's just a regular civilian or just a regular person that was working that got snatched up. And they're trying to make it look like, hey, this is what could happen in the future. Regular Joe Schmo citizens can be snatched up and sent to El Salvador. Their gates are open. Their doors are open to anybody who the United States deems not necessary, basically, no good. Will there be some mistakes? Absolutely. In everything that's done in life, there's mistakes. Shit happens is what it's called. You ever seen that sticker when you're cruising? Shit happens. It definitely does. It's happened to me a lot. But you need to understand that this guy Kilmar should not be the one as the poster child for a mistake. This is not a mistake. First of all, this guy was in the country illegally. Okay. Now, does that mean he needs to be treated harsh? No. Does that mean he needs to get his rights violated? No. Because just because you're illegal in another country does not mean you don't have human rights. Does not mean you shouldn't be treated with respect. Absolutely. You know, you should get due process. You should get your hearings. You should get everything that you have coming, unless there's an exception to the rule. Let me explain to you. For those that are running around screaming, man, justice for Kilmar, bring him back. He's an American citizen. He is not an American citizen. He was born in El Salvador. He is a citizen of El Salvador, and he came into the country illegally. So that's strike one. Okay. I know a lot of people like to say, but he's not a criminal. He's not doing criminal activities. Well, I'm going to explain otherwise, according to what's being put out there, paperwork that is surfaced. But even more so than that, say you have an older woman or a man who come over from Mexico or El Salvador or Honduras or wherever, Guatemala, with intentions of working to help their families, because that's why everyone's coming to the United States, because the freedoms and liberties that you're afforded in the United States are much different than other countries. Some are even third world type countries, man, where it's guerrilla warfare and they're trying to escape persecution, oppression, and the bullshit. I understand, man. I don't wish bad upon no one, but man, we're different strokes for different folks. We are born onto different lands. But at the end of the day, we can get technical and people are going to say, well, this was all fucking raza in the beginning. And you're not lying, man. The history shows that, reflects that. But things have changed. Lines have been drawn in the sand, unfortunately. And these are the rules and the laws that we must abide by. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't get your car broken into or your car stolen or your house burglarized and immediately call the police and want them to help you out and go find your shit, right? Then at the same time, be over on the streets boycotting shit and mad because law enforcement did their job. This guy broke a rule of law, and that was coming over to the country illegally. Doesn't matter what his intentions were. Doesn't matter if he was working. Doesn't matter if he had his family. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Now, if you have an older woman and she's just doing great, man, she's been working, raising her kids. Her kids are now American citizens because they were born here, whatever. And she's snatched up. Yeah, that's going to hurt the heart. It's going to be like, why? This lady poses no threat. She's not doing anything. And in that instance, I could say, even though I can't be hypocritical and say she didn't break a law, she did. But there's certain circumstances where you really need to look at it and be like, does this particular woman pose a threat to the safety and national security of our country? I don't think so. I think if anything, they need to look at each case and vet each case according to what they've done while in the country and according to what they continue to do. That's just me, my personal opinion. But still, law is law. And you can't fake the funk or fake the fact that if you break it, there's going to be some type of circumstances. There's going to be some type of repercussions. Something's going to happen. Now, in Kilmar's case, what's popularizing him so much is mainstream media is making him a factor. They're making him the hero. They're making him the face, trying to say, man, this is a good guy. He's an American citizen. He's over there illegally. They didn't give him his due process. They didn't give him his, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. His wife's out there. Everyone's out there. But where was them antennas when it comes to his wife when she was filing spousal abuse charges on him? There's paperwork where he was in a domestic issue. She had bruises, cuts, ripped blouse. And when she was filing these reports and going to the police officers and telling them that, she was doing it of her own free will because she was in fear. There's no denying this guy is affiliated, associated, or an alleged actual member of MS13. And right now, man, oh, wow, that's the gang you don't want to be a part of. That's the one group right now, because they're in the spotlight, they're mainstream, right? That you don't want to be a part of because they are no longer considered just a street gang or an organization. They are now considered a terrorist group, and for many, many years in El Salvador, that country was overrun by gang members, by these criminal organizations that were literally beheading people in the streets. I told a story before. In fact, one of my first stories I ever told on YouTube was about my homeboy Spanky from Gilroy, from Gilas, man, Robert Aparicio, and I'm going to keep his name going forever. And when we were young, man, and he was a striving norteño, and we were doing our gang thing, right? But he was a good friend. He was a solid dude. He had your back. You could depend on him. That was his mentality. Yes, we were fighting our own raza for the wrong reasons. But, man, he sure did have your back, right? He was someone you could depend on. That's a fact. That's why I always keep his name near and dear to my heart and close. I never knew he was El Salvadorian. I never knew he was a citizen of El Salvador. And you got to understand, it was different from being Mexican. Mexican was like, okay, you're from Mexico, it's cool. El Salvadorians were they had different mentalities. Now, of course, he was raised around Chicanos, Mexicanos. You couldn't tell. He had norteño on his neck. Like I would have never known. And he ends up committing a murder. in California, and goes on the run and goes back to El Salvador. He volunteered to go back. His mother lived there. He had family there. And he went to that country illegally, because he had became an American citizen. So when he goes over there, it's like a reverse thing. He's working. He got a job at a cellular phone shop, all that. And he gets spotted by MS13 members. They spot his tattoos. They recognize who he is. And he's already on the run for a murder case. So he's not an innocent man by any means, stretch of the imagination, right? But he's working, just doing his thing, not living that lifestyle. Didn't matter. They found him, cut him into pieces, put him in 2 duffel bags, and dropped him off at his mom's front door. This is the type of environment that people lived with for a long time. That shit, like I said, it doesn't affect you till it's firsthand, right? Until someone you know, and I knew him. So that right there gave me a bias towards El Salvador and towards the MS13 gang. I didn't hate them, didn't disrespect them, but that opened my eyes. I had an understanding that these guys played differently. These guys were one of the most violent, vicious groups out there. Now, do I condone making gangs, terrorist groups, and all that? I don't. I don't think it's that serious. I think, sometimes, people overdo it and how they talk about people or how they disrespect people. But at the end of the day, man, it's not like these guys are innocent, good citizens, man, trying to help an old lady cross in the crosswalk. These motherfuckers will cut you to pieces, and they're very violent. So they took over El Salvador. Excuse me. Dubs woke me up hella late last night to do that video, man, on Cesar Hernandez. So I'm still fucking recovering. But anyways, so this guy, I lost my train of thought. They were fucking bad over there in El Salvador, MS13, and the president comes along and cleans it up, right? They went from being one of the most gang-driven, overrun countries in the world, dangerous countries in the world, to one of the most, probably the least dangerous Latin country in the world at this point. And a lot of it is due to CCOT. A lot of it is due to this mega super prison. And a lot of it is due to these roundups and these, busts. And they're getting all these guys, giving them 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 years. And I seen an interview with one of them yesterday, man. And you would think, man, 800 years of eating a fucking scoop of beans and 2 tortillas, and that's all you got coming, and no mattresses and the hardships. It's harsh. It's a harsh reality there. And it looks like a lot of hopelessness, and there is no hope there. And you're sitting there around other gang members all looking at each other. You all look very similar, all tattooed down, same mindsets. They broke them down. It's meant to break you. That's what that prison's meant. And this guy was doing an interview, and he said he would do it all over again. He's so dedicated to his gang. He's a real soldado, and that's it. And he's not remorseful for anything. So this type of mentality is what they're going to show you. And a lot of it is fear-mongering. They showed him in particular, his interview. All the guys that are remorseful and are sad to be there, they're not going to show them. They're going to show the worst ones to keep that reality open of this is what we're dealing with. But on the other side of the token, they're going to have people like Kilmar, who they're going to say, oh, he was a good guy, man. This is a mistake. He doesn't deserve to be there. But they're not going to give you a rundown of his history. Spousal abuses. When he was arrested, he had a lot of money on him, rolls of money, drugs. He was with other known MS-13 gang members. He was not your regular Joe Schmo citizen. He was involved. Maybe not to the highest level. Maybe he was not killing people, but he was definitely questioned, in several murders. Different things that were happening. Now, I'm not here to say, he deserves to be deported. He deserves to get the fuck out of the country and be given thousands of years. If he did not commit a crime that warrants that, okay, then it shouldn't happen. I'm strictly against locking people up because of a tattoo. There's a lot of those dudes that, believe me, he's not the only one that people should be talking about. There's dudes that are literally sitting there behind tattoos, and they're actually working, taking care of their families. And because old, things of the past caught up with them. And unfortunately, man, that's the way that country works right now. There's no tolerance. They're not going to question it. If they believe you to be a gang member, they are going to snatch you up and you're going to be given hundreds of years. That's how that place works. It's designed to break down gangs. It's designed to deter people from ever thinking about committing those heinous acts or becoming a gang member. This is what it's designed to do, and it's doing that. Okay? People are freaking out in the United States. Man, what if they start snatching up gang members? Oh, well. Here's my thing. Okay? If you put yourself in a position to even give the man the opportunity to do that, well, who's the baboso? Definitely not me. I walk around with a lot of tattoos on my body. I'll never be anywhere near El Salvador because I already know, man, where I'll be there. I'll be bald like a motherfucker eating 2 tortillas, mad at the world. So I know. So in life, you only put yourself in the position that you're willing to be in, right? So when these guys know what they're doing to these MS13s and these Model 18s, know they consider them terrorists, know that they consider them, criminal organizations, and they still continue to be indoctrinated with the education of the gang, and they still get jumped in, and they still are doing criminal acts, they're going to get what they get. Now, in Kilmar's favor, right, he was over here in the United States, so he was enjoying the opportunities, the freedoms, and the liberties, and he had a family, yes. And I respect the fact that he has his family. I know his family loves him very much, even though, his wife said that he was putting hands on her and all that in the past. People change. There's people that make mistakes. A woman beater is never the best thing to be described or labeled, but people change. It's the heat of passion. Shit happens. I'm not condoning it, but shit happens. I've seen women that used to beat up on their old men. My prima used to beat her. Every boyfriend she had, she beat him up from the feed him up, right? So it was all bad. So it works both ways. But a man is always going to be stronger and can overpower a woman. So that's never something good to do. I don't condone it. But I'll say this. Even with that, none of that matters. Whether Kilmar had all this money on him, whether he was an MS13 member, a validated MS13 member, whether he was out there riding around with guns and drugs and doing all this, the fact is he violated one rule of law that nowadays you cannot violate because they are not playing. They're holding you to that standard. And that one rule of law is he crossed over illegally into the United States. I know it's crazy, huh? You got motherfuckers doing murders getting 8 months. Youngsters in San Jose stabbing people getting 8-9 months in the ranch. You got people that are doing crimes all day, but because they're American citizens, they're getting slaps on the wrist. That's why everyone is trying to come to this country, because you're afforded different luxuries compared to other countries. El Salvador, there's no one there besides the citizens and civilians that love their area, love their country, that want to be there. If you're a gang member, you definitely don't want to be there. And they definitely don't want you here. So where are they going to send you? Where are you going to go? Well, guess what? The president of El Salvador got a nice, hard, fucking concrete slab for you. A metal bed for you. Some shears and a couple of tortillas and a pile of beans for you. This is what you got coming if you want to continue criminal acts. Now, in Kilmar's case, my opinion is this. Fuck them. Okay? Now, let me explain to you. I'm not a mean person. I'm not for one side or the other. I understand about mistakes. I understand some of those guys sitting there are probably innocent. But you also need to understand this. Am I mad at Kilmar because he came over illegally? Absolutely not, man. Half my family did back in the days. Okay, I'm derived from a bunch of people that fucking crossed over illegally. I wouldn't be able to claim Chicano, Mexicano, American if my family didn't. They came over struggling and striving. Okay, my grandfather fought for citizenship, got it. But the first time he came over, he wasn't. He just did it the right way. And not for me, not for my family, for himself. So he can get a good job because he liked new trucks and shit. Kilmar is being used. That's the unfortunate part. And I know people are screaming in the streets, bring him home. Hey, look, I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He violated a law in a time where, man, all eyes on you. Tupac song, right? When you don't want to violate that type of law. And so whether you choose to be on the side fighting for Kilmar, and man, this guy, he wasn't given his due process. He wasn't given his hearing. They don't have to give you the hearing right here. You are from another country. You are a citizen of another country. They're going to take your ass back first and foremost, and then give you your due process over there. And if that country decides and chooses not to because you're a citizen of what they got going on, and because you're an MS13 gang member and there's a war waged against them right now, and they're considered a terrorist organization, and so that you ain't got that coming, then I'm sorry, he ain't got that coming. But it's crazy how one person in his family is being utilized to make people feel bad, like, oh, and to fearmonger, to make people think that, oh, this is what they're going to do. They're going to. No. As a fucking American citizen, you do have rights. I want my fucking rights. Just like the president, Jimmy Carter, says, right? You have rights. Okay, is people going to make mistakes? Are you going to run into the wrong ICE officer one day that's going to jam you up? Probably. Everyone has different attitudes. That goes in the workplace. That goes at schools. That goes everywhere in this country, man. People are assholes. Okay, I'm an asshole. So sometimes you might run into me and I might not. That's it. I say like Cholo Juan, right? I don't know. One thing I know, man, is I don't feel sorry for this man. I feel sorry for his family, that his family's having to go through this shit. As a man, he chose to be a gang member. You know what comes with that? Death before dishonor, right? It's dishonorable to be trying to turn your back on your gang and not claiming allegiance now because you want to get out. If you're going to stick with it, stick with it. If you're not, you're not. Okay? I'll never myself deny where I come from or what I was. What I am now, as a man, as a person, I only have one title. It's not gangster. It's not gang member. It's not illegal. It's not legal. It's father. That's it. That's my only title. And if I get locked up forever for that, then I'm willing to do that, right? And that's just like Cain Velasquez did for his children. So that's it, man. With that being said, that's my perspective on it. I think, unfortunately, he got caught. That's the unfortunate part. And he's going to have to go through a world of hurt, man, over there in CCOT. It's going to be ugly. But he is not an American citizen. This guy was not just a regular Joe Schmo. Like I said, he was not out. He was committing criminal activities, man, like it or not. And albeit it might not be the worst thing, there's dudes locked up right now, innocent men that didn't do shit at all. And I don't see anyone fighting for them. Stop this bullshit of making someone into some type of hero or a saint, or an example. Because when you're dealing with other countries, like especially the way El Salvador is right now, ain't no one got shit coming. That's my opinion. That's my perspective. Bang, bang, the gun.